Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's an exciting weekend for DC Dark Legion players because the Darkest Timeline is finally back. If you are a landscape player, you'll remember this game mode. If you've come to the game since around the November, December timeframe, since the soft launch, this is going to be a completely new game mode for you, but it's very exciting and I'm really happy to share a little bit of this content with you. We're going to take a look at my main account and see some of the progress that I was able to make there. And then I'm actually going to take you over to one of my alt accounts and we're going to actually play through Darkest Timeline, and I can kind of talk you through some of my approach and kind of the way I see things and some of the helpful tips that you might need to get a little bit further. So let's jump right in and take a look at my progress. One thing that I've found a bit annoying is once you've done your 5 attempts, you can't go back in and kind of see what you would typically be able to see when you start out, when you have any of your attempts left. But I'm hoping that this is something they're going to be fixing in the future, not just so that you can go in and retrieve those rewards, the first time clear rewards, but also so that potentially they would add the ability for you to go in and keep playing for no rewards, just to kind of get a feel for the game mode. It's a very fun game mode. It's sort of I think what you would call a roguelike, where every run is going to be completely different. You're going to be presented with different options each time, and you're going to build your team out a little bit differently each time. And so every decision that you make is incredibly important, and it could, just one small thing could derail a run, and it could be a choice that you made at the very beginning of the game, or maybe a choice that you made later. One thing that I've found very helpful with playing Darkest Timeline is you really want to develop a theme immediately. So what you would do is take a look at the first few pulls or the first few characters that you're able to obtain and kind of build your bonuses and other choices around those characters. And I think you'll also find that there are a couple of different character groups that are much better than others. I think right now, I've talked to a few different people. It seems Justice League Dark is probably one of the more busted groups that you can have, but there are a couple of other combinations that are pretty solid as well. And you'll see that I think a lot of these characters, the best characters here are the ones, it kind of resonates with the recent tier list that we did that was published, and you can see that video on my channel. I think Unstable Gamer has it on his channel as well. So take a look at that because it might be helpful in helping you form your teams for Darkest Timeline. So the first thing that I will point out is the timeline journal. So in your timeline journal, obviously you're going to have a rewards track, and you'll notice that there is a weekly XP limit of 20,000. For me, that was pretty easy to hit, and I focused on my missions to be able to do that. Before we go over to missions and take a look, you'll notice that there are a couple of things in here that are really nice for especially new players to the game or non-spenders or light spenders. They have introduced the ability finally to kind of focus farm characters. Now, not every mythic character shows up in the selector here, but you will be able to choose most of the 10 shard mythics. The 40 shard mythics that show up in the bleed, you won't be able to get. You will not be able to get Raven, Harley, Batman, and I think there's at least one other character that you'll not be able to select through the selector, but it's a really great addition to the game. Now, I was able to get, I think, 7 mythic shards as part of my playthrough. I think that may not quite be the average for every player. There is a bit of RNG and a bit of skill to this game mode, so you'll notice that you may get a few less than that on your first week, but you'll definitely be able to get some. And I think what this is great for is either hoarders who may want to hoard for a few resets so that they're able to do a full unlock, but it's also great for if you got that character to 7, 8, 9 shards and you're just trying to unlock them, or you're just trying to get that next skill unlock. it's really great for getting characters to 5 white stars. Now, I don't want to sugarcoat things. Once you have a more advanced account, this is probably not going to be as helpful, but it does make a difference to get, you know, somewhere between 3 and 6, 7 shards a week. I think it's great. The other nice thing that they've done here is they've added the ACN tokens, so you can get quite a few of those, and that's going to help you with, especially people who aren't able to spend or aren't able to get the battle pass, or just people who don't want to spend on the game at all. It's great to give you the ability to obtain a few extra stimulators for leveling up your characters. And then also, this is going to be a great way for you to get those AC/DC shards, probably the most important resource in the game outside of the biostimulators, but very, very nice here. You could see I was able to get 40 of the AC/DC shards and quite a few of the ACN Anti-Crime Network tokens. So I think it's really great. Now let's look at the missions. Missions are actually another important part of the game. Now you can probably ignore the extreme trials for now. These are for people who are able to get a clear on difficulty 5. Now, one thing that I'm fairly certain about is a lot of these challenges are not going to reset weekly. So don't feel discouraged. Like I think what will end up happening is that some of your progress towards, like if you unlock or if you beat difficulty 4 the first week, so now when it resets, and we'll find out in probably a few hours, but it'll be after this video is published, we will know this, so I'll maybe do a follow-up to it, but you should be able to keep progressing towards some of these goals over the course of time. So don't worry about these extreme trials right now, but just know that you're going to have the ability to work through and play through this game mode a lot of different ways. You'll be trying strategies where you just pull a bunch of Bat family characters, Justice League, Arkham's Most Wanted, etc. So just be on the lookout for those options down the road. But the things that you really want to focus on are the things that you're going to get the first playthrough. Is you are going to get 8,000 XP the first week for just clearing the game mode on any difficulty. So if you clear it twice, basically on difficulty 1, you will get 8,000 XP, which is, I think, really nice. It should get you. We can go back over to the rewards. I guess maybe it's not going to be easy to figure this out, but you should get a decent amount of these. Like, you're going to be guaranteed a couple of mythic shards, even if you just can't quite figure out the game mode and you're only able to beat difficulty 1 once or twice. The other thing, and you'll see here, I was able to get 4 out of 5 on the first steps. So you've got challenges for clearing each difficulty. I was able to clear through difficulty 4. Couldn't quite, I had a mix up with difficulty 2. I made a couple of choices that were poor, and I wasn't able to beat the final boss, so I had to start that one over. And I think really that's kind of a testament to the fact that RNG may not always be on your side. Okay, let's see, Ace Basics. So once I got to difficulty 4, I made the decision, and you're kind of forced, like it gets really, really difficult on difficulty 4. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get there on this recording, but hopefully you'll be able to see this. That you kind of have to decide whether you want to go for a metahuman, weapon master, or energy wielder starting kind of bonus. And what will end up happening is, based on your choice with this, certain other characters with some of these other aspects or tags are going to have less effect. So they'll have less attack and less HP starting out, which makes things quite difficult, and it will definitely affect your choices as you go through that playthrough. So I was able to do metahuman. I think metahuman is probably the easiest route, but Weapon Master and Energy Wielder, I'm looking forward to being able to try those. As you know, Energy Wielder. Justice League Dark has some Energy Wielders. There are a couple of them out there that I think are pretty nice. And I was not able to get through these others, but you have some options again for clearing on difficulty 5. So I'm hoping on this main account to be able to push into some of these in the next week or two. And then you've got some of these Twist of Fate, again, kind of variations that you'll have to have difficulty 5 to get to, but it's just for basically if you can clear difficulty 5 with certain tags, so Justice League Dark, etc. And then Nemesis, you need to beat the Devastator on difficulty 5 with all champions surviving, and then defeat Merciless on difficulty 5 with all champions surviving. So each time you play through, you may get a different boss. And so it's definitely going to require you to play through a bunch of times to be able to get here. Especially, I think on the higher difficulties, RNG is going to become more of a factor. I definitely felt the crunch on my difficulty 4 playthrough. And so I feel like difficulty 5 is going to be, hard mode. It is definitely going to be tough. And then having all of these different challenges for difficulty 5, I think it's going to give you a lot of replay value because of that. It's going to cause a lot of frustration. I think I've seen a few people who were quite frustrated with the game mode on Discord today, where they just feel like they kind of hit a wall or they weren't able to progress. And I'm hoping that we can dispel a little bit of that in this playthrough. And I'm actually thinking about doing some live streams where I go through Darkest Timeline and maybe play some of the other game modes on the game, just so that people can get a feel for how much of an idiot I am. And maybe we can I can help you learn a little bit from my mistakes. I'm sure people will point them out, but I think a live stream will be really fun way to talk through something like this and just kind of explain my choices. One more thing that I will point out is you have these ace in the hole items where you can unlock a few extra gems, and you can see that in order to unlock these, you have to clear the Darkest Timeline on specific difficulty levels. So I was not able to clear on Space Weaver or Space Time Weaver difficulty, which I think is just difficulty 5, just a different word for it. But I was able to clear on the others, and I believe difficulty 4 got me at least 3 of these. Maybe difficulty 3 got me the other 3, so we'll have to find that out again. But pretty easy to get that, I think. And the other thing you won't be able to see here, but we'll go over to my alt account in just a second, and you will be able to see. But once you hit start, it's showing you kind of possible rewards that you might be able to earn on each playthrough. But you will also get guaranteed first clear rewards for clearing each difficulty level the first time. Okay, so this is a fresh account, or I would say a fresh Darkest Timeline experience. Use the Flash's cosmic treadmill to enter the temporal turbulence. It's dangerous, but the Red Death seeks to change our history. Okay. All right, so this first, I guess, piece of advice that you probably glossed over if you were just clicking through, you can see the journal XP. So that's kind of telling you how many rewards you're earning or how much progress you're earning towards unlocking all of the different levels of XP rewards. And then you also see enemy power. So this is just the power multiplier. So every difficulty level, the power multiplier goes up, and it's going to be a lot harder to push through, which means that your choices are going to mean much more each time. And then it's going to tell you that for difficulty 1, you're going to get a few extra rewards. You're getting harmonic crystals, which is the currency that you're using inside the game mode to purchase items or levels, star levels, or other things that bonuses that might help you with your team. All right, so you can actually go through and see kind of what you're going to get. Like you can see there's retrocognition. We'll talk about that in a minute. restraints. So certain things that you need to understand and be aware of before you go into the difficulty. There you go. You do have to complete the previous tier to unlock the next one. Pretty self-explanatory. Let's jump in. And this is the first point where I think understanding character power and the what tier each character falls into, what they're capable of in the larger game, is going to come in handy. So what I would typically do here, what I did on my main account, is I'm going to choose the 5 characters that I think are the most powerful or the most impactful or the best characters to give me a fighting chance to start out with. As we get to some of the higher difficulty levels, this is going to change just a little bit. But typically what I would do is select Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, Mira, Black Adam, and then a 5th. So you really do have a little bit of optionality here. I think Killer Croc is pretty good for that first match just to ensure that you're going to win it. But you could also choose really any of these, honestly. Red Hood or Vixen is pretty solid, especially I actually had to pick Vixen for one of my later, I think, difficulty 4 playthrough. It was either difficulty 4 or difficulty 3, but either way, I'm going to choose Killer Croc here. So now I have my 5 champions. Now, you're immediately presented, I guess Dr. Fate's going to explain this to us. And temporal turbulence is quite a tongue twister, I think. But you've entered the temporal turbulence. The glowing energy orbs are unstable vanishing points floating outside the timeline. Okay. So he's just telling us what to do. We're going to skip through this. All right. So these items are called vanishing points. Now what happens is you can see all the little lines on the screen. Every choice you make is going to close off other choices. Now in a lot of cases you make a choice and you're at least going to have 2 of the 3 choices on the next rung, or one of the 2, I suppose. But you typically are always going to have some sort of optionality down the line, but you really want to be paying close attention to what's 1, 2, or 3 steps ahead once you get into the round. But it's going to make us open this vanishing point. Okay, so here's an infinite crisis. It's going to show you how many harmonic crystals you will earn after the battle. It's going to tell you the number and rarity of champions that you can recruit after the battle. So we'll be able to get 3 champions, and we have a 90% chance of those champions being legendary, 10% chance of those champions being mythic. Pretty self-explanatory again. And then you'll see that sometimes you're going to get some bonuses. In some cases, it might actually be a debuff, so you have to watch out for that. But these are called retrocognitions. It's quite the mouthful of a word, but the retrocognitions, I'm sure we'll come up with some sort of a shortened term, retrocogs or something like that. But you can see a few things here that are important. So like this one is a tribute boost for all champions of attack 10%. So that's a really good retrocog. And then got to get used to saying that. The second point that I'll make is right here. You'll notice that there is an hourglass with a 3. That means that this retrocog is going to only last for 3 rounds. So once you unlock it, the next 3 fights or next 3 rounds, you'll have that available to use. And there you go. He just says that's the duration. Okay, so we don't necessarily have to do combat here, I think. So I don't know whether they'll fix it where they force you to do that, but I don't really want to listen to I don't want to have to choose that, because I want to show you. You could also choose the Dark Crisis, the second option. This one is a poor choice, I would say, for you starting out, because you have a 90% chance for a legendary, but there's a 10% chance you'll pull an epic. But what I want to point out here, this is really important, and it doesn't really matter as much for the first difficulty, maybe not that much for the second difficulty, but in some cases, you will find yourself in a position where you have to choose the worst of the two options. What I mean by that is, this one is a lot easier to win. You only have 80,000 attack power on the opposing team here. You should be able to steamroll it. With the Infinite Crisis, it's 100,000 versus 100,000 basically. So this one isn't really going to matter. It's pretty inconsequential. You actually could probably win this with just about any combination of starting 5 characters. So we're obviously going to choose this one. I feel pretty confident we're going to be able to steamroll it. But in some cases down the road, and hopefully you'll be able to see me making that choice, I might look and say, oh, well, I have, if I choose this, I'm not going to be able to, if I choose the better path here, I'm not going to be able to get what I want down the road. Now, the next thing that I'm thinking about right here is this recruit feature. I really want to get to that. Now, I can get to it with either one of these. There's also the heal option. They call it the Dionysium Pit. We don't really need to heal at all right now. And hopefully Mira is going to keep our champions healed up pretty well. You always want to have that healer in to take care of that. But we're going to go ahead and do this Infinite Crisis. And we want to have our 2 tanks up front. And then there we go. Right now, I'm just going to go auto. I feel pretty confident that it's going to be a win. Okay. Got to get that pesky Raven. All right. Now, I know you might be tempted to say, oh, well, we have characters who need to be healed. I have to go to the heal. Do not do that. Right now, we're trying to recruit champions. We're trying to get them past 0 stars. As you know from hearing from me or Unstable Gamer or any other active person in the community, Tyvoka and others, it's really important to get stars on characters. You need to open up their abilities. So it's really like, this is a good one, I think, because we just got some abilities on Green Arrow. We're definitely going to keep using him. Okay, it's just telling us that there are different options. Finally, he's shutting up. We're going to recruit random. So let's advance to this one. Now, first choice. All right, so we can recruit Metahuman, we can recruit Bat Family, and we can recruit Justice League Dark. Now, here's my strategy here, my thought process. We're getting Wonder Woman right off the bat. This is going to change over time, but right now, Wonder Woman is one of 3 available Justice League Dark characters. If I choose to recruit 3 legendary or higher Justice League Dark champions, we're going to have a really high chance of getting either another Wonder Woman, 5 shards of Wonder Woman, or we're going to get multiple pulls of one of Dr. Fate or Raven. Raven's a great healer, and Dr. Fate has some interesting mechanics where he's able to grant those shields that I love. And so I think this is just really an all-around great choice. I would not recommend choosing Bat Family unless you're trying to beat one of the missions for getting those extra XP. That's going to be something way down the line. Metahuman is interesting here because there are some good Metahuman champions. There's also some bad ones. In my opinion, I think at this point in the game, you might be taking a little bit too much of a risk by recruiting the metahuman champions. So personally, I'm going to go with Justice League Dark. So let's confirm that. Perfect. So we got some stars on Wonder Woman, and we unlocked a couple of pretty solid champions that we might use down the line. Now let's just take a look at these options. So the first one is going to give us an attribute boost for Bat Family, attack 20%. If you were building Bat Family, if you had chosen Bat Family in the previous option, or the recruit option, then this would probably be great for you, because then those Bat Family champions are going to be a little bit stronger for the next few rounds. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so upon recruiting a Legion of Doom champion, the champion will gain 3 additional stars. That one's pretty nice, actually, if you were going for Legion of Doom. So, you know, if you had Sinestro or Deathstroke or Lex Luthor, that might actually be a really solid choice for you. And then this one does nothing. Let's zoom out. It looks like all 3 of these choices are going to get us to the recruit random. That's the one that I'm going to choose again. I know off the bat, I don't care what this Dark Crisis says. I'm choosing the recruit. But let's go back over here. So I think we'll go with the Bat Family one. I'm just looking at everything again. I don't think we'll have any issues with it. Let's go ahead and fight. All right, and one thing that I am going to do here is I'll go ahead and remove my Killer Croc, and I'm going to throw in my 0-star Dr. Fate. I'll leave Raven on the sideline for now. All right, so let's fight. And you can see we're having a better chance with this fight than the last one. And I think that's because we put those stars on Wonder Woman and Green Arrow. All right, victory, and we got some stars on Mira, so that's helpful for us. Now let's go ahead and recruit. And again, before we do that, I know I kind of jumped the gun and said that I was going straight for the recruit. What you will see is if I choose the recruit, I can still choose any of the 3 ahead of us, and we're going to have some interesting options up there. So let's go ahead and advance, see what we can get. So our options are Weapon Master, Arkham's Most Wanted, and just 3 legendary or higher champions. Now, that one is, I think, probably the poorest choice here, because it could get you literally any champion in the game, and I think there are a lot of really bad ones. We're trying to hone in, and we're trying to find our kind of grouping. Now, I've kind of made the choice that hopefully I can go Justice League Dark down the road, but you know, the Weapon Master has some interesting characters, and so does Arkham's Most Wanted. I think I'm going to choose Weapon Master. Okay, so that ends up being a good choice. I like the Scarecrow pick there. We'll see whether that materializes into anything, but more importantly, we got 5 more stars onto our Green Arrow. Most likely this Green Arrow is one we're going to try to carry to the end now. That also means that we're probably going to try to get Weapon Master or Justice League buffs. We're going to try to start kind of building some tags into this team if we can. Now here's the first kind of real interesting choice that we have, and that is Challenge the Lords, Book of Destiny, and Dionysium Pit. I don't really see the reason to do Dionysium Pit right now. Book of Destiny is quite interesting because Uh, More often than not, you're going to get pretty horrible buffs here. I say buffs or debuffs. What it will end up doing is it will take away 50% of the HP of or the health of your champions or certain champions from certain tags, and in exchange for that, it will give you certain buffs that you can carry on through the game. I think a lot of people steer clear from this one. Sometimes I like to kind of live on the wild side, but I will say this first time I like to take the risk of going to challenge the Lords of Chaos, because you'll get like a flip the coin or other options where you can get more of the harmonic crystals. So let's go ahead and make that choice. All right, here's our options. You have high risk, high return, where you spend 60 harmonic crystals for a chance to win 500 harmonic crystals. For balanced odds, you spend 100. Low risk, you spend 200. I'm guessing what they're saying here is that if you choose the high risk, it means you have less odds of getting the 500. So the more harmonic crystals you spend, the better your odds of winning. I like to go high risk. I mean, it means that you don't. I actually think the low risk is worse, because what happens if you're part of that small percentage that doesn't get anything? So we're going to go with the 60 harmonic, and we lost. So that is going to happen. But let's go ahead and advance to Planet Ventura, and we're going to see if we can make some purchases. All right, so our options are, we can lean into Arkham's Most Wanted. We can star up the Scarecrow to 5 stars, which is good. We can also star up Justice League. I think this is going to be the better choice, because we'll get to star up both Wonder Woman and Green Arrow. And then we also have options to star up individual characters. I rarely choose those unless it's a character that I really want to keep in my squad. Now, I like the Dr. Fate option here, but we're not going to... I think the best option is to get stars on more characters. So clearly we're going to go with this Justice League one, and we'll just have to leave this other on the table. One thing I want to point out also is you do have the ability to heal your characters or even fully revive them. So the Dionysian Pit ones, you can heal all surviving champions for 50% of max HP, or you can fully heal one fallen champion, and we're not going to do either one of those. So let's go ahead and choose this. We'll star these guys up. Perfect. I think both of those are going to be very, very helpful for us coming up. So then we'll leave, and we'll go to the final crisis. I do think we're maybe a little bit behind here, but hopefully we should be able to take this out. All right, so let's see what happens. We might end up losing our Dr. Fate, but that's perfectly fine. He was able to get his shield off. Okay, so we're in pretty good shape here. Okay, so we restored a vanishing point. We're able to choose a champion to join the squad. And we have to be a little bit strategic here, because we don't have any of these except for Two-Face already unlocked. Now, this is a tough choice for me. I think Aquaman would be probably a solid choice. It would get us some Justice League synergy. I think that Cyborg, in that same vein, would be a good choice for the Justice League synergy. I also think that we can start getting some Weapon Master synergy by choosing either Deathstroke or Harley. And I'm really torn here. I think that probably the choice that I really want to go with is Deathstroke, but I'm going to go with Aquaman. My gut just says to go with Aquaman here. So now we kind of basically get a free heal, which is great. I'll go ahead and do that. And then let's see what we have up next. Okay, so immediately I'm seeing, because I made that Justice League Dark choice earlier, that's where we need to be heading. And I will tell you, I think my intuition says that the way RNG is going, I probably should have been making Arkham's Most Wanted choices and trying to build that out. But we're just going to lean straight into the Justice League Dark. Let's go ahead and take care of this. And you'll see that the Justice League Dark champions will star up by 3, which is awesome. Okay, so now we get that first rung of Justice League synergy. So we're going to increase Wonder Woman's HP by 10%, which will be great for tanking. Everyone's going to have their HP and attack upgraded. So that's, I think, a solid choice. Easy sub in to make over Black Adam, even though Black Adam will probably do a lot more damage. But I think our Green Arrow is going to take care of business. So and there we go with another 5 stars for Green Arrow, which is fantastic. Getting him up to where he needs to be to kind of clean house. And then great to get a few extra stars on our Dr. Fate and Wonder Woman. Okay, so we don't really need to heal again. You know, I'm thinking in the back of my mind whether we lost a lot of damage on those characters or lost a lot of HP on those characters and we didn't. So let's go ahead and recruit again. And we're given Legion of Doom, random 3 legendaries, or energy wielders. I'm drawn to choose the energy wielders because we do have a couple of energy wielders that I know of. And again, you're getting a smaller pool of characters. So better chance that you're going to get something you might actually utilize. Let's do that. And that's great. We actually got a Green Lantern, which, you know, in some cases, he might actually be a better choice than even a 5 blue star Mira at 0 stars. But we'll keep that on the back burner. But Mira getting an extra 5 stars is fantastic. And then our choices here, just a random Dark Crisis or the more difficult, which will give us an attribute boost for Legion of Doom champions, which I don't really care about. But we're going to be able to summon higher quality champions. I think that's going to be the best choice. So let's choose the harder battle. Before I forget, I do want to show you one important tool. So if you click the pause button, you can actually restart your match. You can quit, which I would not recommend, and then obviously you can continue. You might actually have to use this restart button later. I've been told, I haven't done it yet, but I've been told that the restart button will allow you to completely start over without losing any champions. So if you're fighting against a boss and one of your champions dies and you feel like you probably could have maybe taken over with manual controls so that you don't die, or just for whatever reason you think it could have gone differently, you just hit the restart button, you can keep going. So little known fact here, but very helpful. Okay, We made quick work of that. Let's see what we get. Okay, so nothing helpful here. All right, so this is the first interesting choice that we're going to have to make. If we recruit champions, we are going to be forced to either heal up or choose the more risky option. We'll go with the Book of Destiny, I think. That's where my head's at. So we're going to recruit random. Sometimes you just got to YOLO. And this is going to be easy choice since I've made the decision to go Justice League. We're going to choose that and maybe pray for a Superman. It's getting a little bit late for that. We did get our Green Arrow to 5 red stars, which is fantastic. And then we're just going to go into Book of Destiny so you can see how that works. Okay, this one is tough. I don't really think it's going to affect us at all, but we'll read through them. So all Bat Family champions lose 5 stars. All Arkham's Most Wanted champions star up by 5. All Legion of Doom champions lose 5 stars. All Bat Family star up. And then all Arkham's Most Wanted champions lose 5 stars. All Legion of Doom champions star up. I don't believe we're using any Bat Family in our primary group. And if we choose that one, then I believe we will get Scarecrow up 5 stars, which was probably the better choice. I mean, if we were going with Batman or Batgirl or something like that, maybe it would make more sense to choose the Legion of Doom one, but we're going to choose Bat Family, losing stars, Arkham's Most Wanted gaining. Okay, I think that is pretty solid. And then we're at Planet Ventura. We don't have a lot of money saved up because of some of the previous choices we made. So that's, does play a factor here. But let's see what we can do with it. Okay, so we got Legion of Doom, star up. Arkham's Most Wanted, star up. Dr. Fate, star up. And then Cyborg. We're not worried about Cyborg right now. We don't really need to heal or revive anyone. Where my head's at on this is to go with Arkham's Most Wanted. And, I flip back and forth in my head about going for Dr. Fate because I do like using him in this lineup. But I think the better choice is going to be putting Scarecrow in to replace him. So we're going to choose that. And then let's leave and we'll go to the final Crisis. This is going to be very close. Okay. I'm going to skip the text so that you can read it yourself. All right. So we're going to remove Dr. Fate. We're going to add in Scarecrow. And then I actually think we should be in pretty good shape here. The other thing that I'm going to do is just take Aquaman out and see what we can do if we add in Two-Face. We get that Weapon Master buff. We do lose the Justice League. So I don't think it's going to matter here. I was just curious kind of what that would look like for us. I think we just kind of go with it, even though we don't have the Justice League buff. Let's see what happens. All right. We get to make a choice here. If we already had a Sinestro, I would immediately choose Sinestro. But now that we're 2/3 of the way through this difficulty level, I don't really think it's going to be a value to choose a Sinestro that's probably going to sit on the bench. So I think the better option here is going to be, in my mind, to star up my Dr. Fate. Another good option would have been maybe to go for the Cyborg if we had have chosen him the last few times we had an option to, but we're going to go with the Dr. Fate here. And we get to heal up again. And that's the reason why I say that, especially on difficulty 1, not to ever choose Dionysian Pit when you have other options, unless you just really feel like your entire team needs to be healed up or they're going to die. All right, let's take another look. I'm definitely not choosing that. Okay, so we can do an attribute boost for Arkham's Most Wanted, and we'll get some money if we choose that. We can just recruit random. Again, I always like the recruit random. I know you don't get to buy as much stuff towards the end if you do it this way, but that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. But here's another thing that you have to look at. If we recruit here, the only way we're going to be able to hit that other recruit, which is going to, I think, be the smartest play, is if we do the book. So we may have to roll the dice again. We won't be able to tell what's in the Infinite Crisis and Dark Crisis here, but I think the way it works is that the Dark Crisis is kind of the easier route, and I'm not in favor of doing that. So I think we're going to recruit random, and we'll go just Justice League. I think we got to go Justice League Dark. Perfect. Okay, and then Book of Destiny. All right, and it's easy here to say, all right, well, let's just do the Arkham's Most Wanted, lose 5 stars, so that the Justice League gains 5 stars. But the All Bat family losing 5 stars and Arkham's Most Wanted gaining 5 stars is an interesting choice as well. If you do the Justice League, that means that we would potentially, I guess we would be able to use Aquaman again, because he would have 5 stars. We would also, we should also be able to sub in Dr. Fate. I think I'm going to, this is probably rolling the dice just a tad, but I'm going to go with this one. Okay, so that happens, but we also get some nice options here now. All right. Now I'm going to recruit random, see what we can get. First time we did not get anything great. I'm just going to recruit 3 legendary or higher. All right, so I mean that helped a little bit. We got our Wonder Woman maxed out, and I'm going to actually choose Book of Destiny here, and just kind of we're throwing up a Hail Mary that we're going to get a good option. We just don't need to heal. Okay, so all Legion of Doom lose. We get Justice League Dark go up, and then I think that's going to be the best play. Okay, now we can go to Planet Ventura. We don't have a lot of money, but we might be able to buy something. Okay, all right, so I think the best option out of the ones that we have available is to star up our Green Lantern. We'll do that, and then let's see if we're able to beat this crisis. Okay, we're going to take out Scarecrow. Let's add in, we're going to take Mira out. We'll add Green Lantern and Dr. Fate. And then let's take Two-Face out. We'll add in Aquaman. We're still only getting the Justice League tag, but I think this is going to give us the best chance of winning out of what we have here. So let's push and see what happens. Okay, I think we're about to lose our Dr. Fate if we're not careful. We should have this. It doesn't really matter that Dr. Fate died. And there it is. Okay, so we beat difficulty 1. I'm not going to bore you with the other difficulties. Again, I will probably end up doing live streams as a method for going through something like this in the future. I just wanted to put out a video as quick as I could where I talked through my choices and kind of gave you some pointers on what you should go after. As you could see, I was having to make some difficult choices, and I'm sure there were probably some mistakes or some plays that you would have made differently. But I hope that me talking through them kind of helped you with understanding where my head was at and why I chose what I did. You can see that I was trying to build out a Justice League team. I personally am kind of partial to them, so I guess that's why I always gravitate to them. But I also think those characters are very strong. That getting that Green Lantern towards the end, I think sealed the deal. Just made it that much easier to win the fight. I could have thrown in the our Raven because she had a decent amount of stars there, and I think she would have probably offered some good support for that team. Maybe our Dr. Fate would not have died. I think that the Aquaman as the 5th was probably the weak link with the team, but he did offer that Justice League synergy where you're getting the extra 10% attack, and we did need that. There wasn't a ton of firepower on that team, so that's kind of something to think about. What we could have potentially done was maybe kept building into the Arkham's Most Wanted and built that Scarecrow up. Maybe would have gotten a Joker or something down the road, but we chose the Justice League. That's what we went with, and it paid off. We won the difficulty level. I'm sure I could probably go through this again with one of the higher difficulties, and people might want to see that. So stay tuned. I will try to figure out a time for a live stream, and I'll try to advertise it so that you all know it's coming. The last thing I'll do, maybe we can go look in the timeline journal, and you'll see what happens when you claim all the rewards. So let's claim the weekly, and we get a first step reward. Claim that. And then we can go over here and claim everything. So you'll see beating difficulty 1 the way we did, we end up getting the 1 shard. But then you can go, if you click start, and again, they really need to change this so that it's easier to go back and claim this once all of your attempts are gone, because like I'm not able to claim my difficulty 4 first clear rewards because I can't go back in to get it now that I beat everything. But we'll go ahead and claim that as well, and we're done. So really hope that you enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit long and me rambling through things, but hope it was helpful, and I hope to see you on the next video.